Alright, so in the previous lesson, we had set up the basic hair for our rubber toy. Now in this lesson, we're going to start setting up the clumping and the length controls. But before that, we can do something a little more fancy with this. This is just for visualization purposes. Like, I find it a little bit easy to do this. So what you can do is, if we give some color to our basic guides, then we can have that picked up by the final hair, just so it's easier to visualize. Okay, like no other reason. So what you can do is you can take a for each. So we can take a for each primitive, and I can take a wrangle, and I'm going to just apply color based on point numbers. So I have it stored. I'll add that, but I want it on the blue color. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing here is relatively simple. I'm setting up, like, initially I've set up the color to 0, and then I'm taking the blue color, and we're setting a ramp. So the ramp name is n, and we are doing point numbers divided by number of points. So if you've seen any of my tutorials before, I do this, like, this is the one trick that I know. So this is, I do this all the time. Okay, and then we just have a gradient, so we can just, like, set it up. And so if we feed this into into the guide advect, what this should do is it should give us like a little bit of coloration. And then what we do is, with the final hair generate, I can come in here, come to appearance, and come to point attributes and type in CD, and it'll just pick up the color from there. Okay, which makes things a little bit, like, it's easier to visualize. Okay, see, so I can actually, like, there you go. See, this is much more sort of easier to visualize whatever is going on. Yeah, or if you want it in another this thing, like in another channel, we can put it in another channel. Like, that's perfectly doable. Like, if I want this to be green, I can take a CG, and so this will be green. Yeah, I think green is better. Okay, so this is set up. Okay, now let's start setting up a little bit of clumping and stuff. So the first thing I want to do is, first let's just set up the clump. Okay, like at a very basic level. I'm going to increase the length of the hair a little bit so we can get to see the clumping. So I'll just get the length to be about, yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, so we get to see like a little more. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so type in hair clump. Okay, and again, it requires 2 inputs. Like, whatever has the red arrow are required. So again, like hair curves and clump. Sorry, and the skin, and there you go. It sets up clumps. Let me just remove that. Yeah, there you go. See, so it's easier to see everything. And this is fairly simple. Like, if you come into the hair clumps, you have the clump size, which can be bigger or smaller. Okay, you have a blend value, so you can, like, if you keep it to 0, nothing clumps, and then you can kind of increase or decrease it. You can increase the crossover rate, where like the curves will sort of cross over between clumps. And then like down here, you can do something called as a stray amount. So if you increase the stray rate, you'll get like loose hair. And this is the thickness or the shape of the clump. So if I increase the value here, so you'll notice, like, if you want a more thicker clump, see, you can do that. Yeah, see, so this is nice. You can also, what you can do is, if you come to like fractal clumping, then you can have it break down into smaller clumps. And you can also do curling. So if you increase curling, see, you can actually do, it's maybe not good for this, but it's good for, like, when you're doing hair and you want like curls at the end of it, this is really nice for that. Like, we can probably come in here and say shade curves and see, oh, that looks nice. There you go. See, this looks pretty fancy. Now we've set up this much. So let's do one thing. Let's start to control this a little. So this is where, everything comes into play. So let's just increase the length a little bit. Now, what I want to do is, like, firstly, I want to control a little bit of density. Okay, so the eyes, I don't want the eyes to have any hair at all naturally. And then I want to be able to control the length. So I want them to be like long on the arms and the fins, but maybe I can control the rest of the size a little bit more. And also the clumping, what I want to do is I want, like where the hair is long, I want it to be clumped, and where it's short, I don't want it to be clumped. So we're going to like paint in these attributes. So what we'll do is we'll come to the subdivide, and I'm going to take a wrangle, and I'll create 3 attributes. So I'm going to create like f at density, which will start off with 1. And then I want to do like f at, we want to control the length of it, so we'll just call it long. That will start at, let's say 0.3, because it multiplies. So 1 is full length and then the rest will be multiplied. And then I want to control the clumping. Now you can use the length for clumping as well, like you can use the same attribute, but let's say if we just want to do a little bit extra. Or let's do one thing, we'll use the length for clumping. Let's control something for curling. Okay, so we'll do like f at curl, okay, is equal to 0. Okay, so we have like these 3, and I'll just connect that. And then I'm just going to paint it. So I'll just keep it to the side for now, and I'll paint in some values. So I'm going to take a paint, and we'll start off with the density. So we'll just say override and take density. Yeah. So this is a value of 1. Yeah, let's also do one thing. Turn off the shader temporarily so it's easier to see. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get this to 0, and I don't want any hair over here on the nose. Hold on, what is my density value? Sorry, wrong spelling, SITY. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Okay. So like I don't want anything on the nose, and nothing on the mouth, and nothing on the eyes. It can be rough, like it doesn't need to be very precise or anything like that. Okay, I think that's good enough. The rest of it can be, and then we'll just smoothen it out a little bit, so I'm just going to take a smooth and just, like smoothen out the whole thing a little bit. Okay, I think that's okay. Now we'll take another paint. So let's call this paint density, and then this is paint length. So the attribute was called long, and yeah, so we'll paint the, so these, the fins and everything, they need to be long. So this is all, going to be long. So everything else will automatically get multiplied by 0.3, and these areas will be longer. Okay, and let's do one thing. Let's say I want the belly to be like fairly short. So yeah, like this area should be much lesser. Okay, and then the last thing is, let's say I want like these to be curled and like these not to be curled or something like that. Yeah, let's just see what we get. Okay, we'll paint the curl values, but you get the idea. So we've painted 2 attributes. I think those should be good enough for what we're doing right now. But what you want to do is take all of this information and plug it into the hair generate. And the first thing we do is in the hair generate, you have the option for density. So here I can just say skin attribute density, and it will automatically get rid of everything, in those areas. We can feed it again later, okay, because it'll be a better idea to feed it for the main hair generate as well. But let's just see. Okay, so if I come to the hair generate here, okay, so we have this, and let's see if we can still adjust it. So I can come in here, say skin attribute is density. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. It's picking up directly from there. It needs to come in from here. Yeah, there you go. You saw the hair disappear. But the problem is like all of this is too damn long. So it's still covering, the eyes. So what we do is that after the hair generate, you'll get something called as a length. So you'll get something called guide process set length. So if I just take this, and then it basically requires the guides, but we'll also put in the skin, and we feed that further into, these guys. And you'll notice like there you go. See, now the density is easier to see. But what you can do is I can come in here. By default, the operation is kept to set. We'll keep it to multiply. And you can randomize it as well. So if you want to randomize it, you can randomize it. But what we can do is we can set the scale factor, say skin attribute, and pick up long. And there you go. So what's happened is like, this is much better. Yeah, maybe we can control it. Let's paint a little bit here. Like let's make that even shorter. So let's come up to the length. Let's make these even shorter. So I'm going to take like this area and paint a little more. So we'll take paint and yeah, let's make the mouth area like really short. And maybe even the nose area can be really short. The eyes were fairly visible, so we don't have to worry about that. But so it's a little bit of work, but you get good results after that. Okay, so let's see where we are. So if I take the guide process, yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, perfect. See, so now now the mouth is fairly clear. Oh, he's looking fairly interesting now. Okay, and then if I come into the clump, so you get this. But what I want is, we don't want any major clumping to happen. Okay, let's do this. So we can do a little bit of wrangle stuff here. So what I want to do is I want clumping to happen wherever it's long, and then wherever it's shorter, it should be slightly clumped. Okay, like not 100%. So what I can do is I can come down here and I'll create one more attribute. So we'll just take this, we'll put a wrangles up here. Okay, and I'll put in like f at blend is equal to, let's do a fit. So we'll do a fit 0, 1, and I'll take at long, and we'll do, let's try 0.4 comma 1. Sorry, 0.4. And this thing comes in there as well. Okay, so what this should allow me to do is if I come into the hair clump, and if I come to the blend value, okay, and I'll say use skin attribute, and it will be called blend, and there you go. Like if I remove this, you'll see like this is clumping a fair bit. When I bring in the blend, like it opens up a little more. So if I come back to that wrangle and I make a little more of an adjustment, let's say I bring it down to 0.2, see, it opens up a bit more. So what you're getting is some nice little clumping and everything happening where it's long. Like if I make it 0, then this opens up completely. Like there's no clumping there at all. Like a little bit, but that's because the length attribute is a little bit different. But there you go. Or like, and then again, if I want to control the curling based on the length attribute, then I can come to the curling and I can say, skin attribute, this will be long, and see, so you're not getting any curling here, and you're only getting curling on this parameter. So if I come up here and look at this, see, and I can increase the hair generation now. Like this is, let's make it about 45,000. So it should give me something. Yeah, here you go. See, this is fairly dense. and let's change the color back to blue. I think blue was a nice color. So let's just keep it to blue. No, I think green is better. You could do a bit of a warp swap and do proper coloring, but yeah, this is fine. And so this is essentially it. So this is how you go about setting the whole thing. Like if you want to generate fur for a creature and you want to control all the various attributes and aspects, then this is essentially how you go about doing that. Like you can set up, you can do like size reduction, and you have controls, like you have a lot of controls. Yeah, like the problem with why we are getting some amount of clumping happening here is because the long attribute, we had set the default value to something like 0.2. So you're not getting all the way down to 0. You are still getting something happening here. So like what you would have to do is you just have to set up the fit range a little bit better, than what it is right now. Let's make it 0.1 so it opens up a bit more. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, so this is basically it. So this is how you can set up, like a basic furry creature. And with the next lesson, we will set up a short hairstyle. So we're going to do 3 hairstyles. Okay, we're going to do a short, a long, and then a ponytail. So we're going to see like how to set up 3 hairstyles, and we'll also use a little bit of vellum to animate them. Okay, now I won't do like a fully animated character. I'm not a character animator, but I'll try to animate the character a little bit. So you get to, add a little bit of movement as well to it. Okay. But before that, in the next lesson, I'll keep it fairly short, but we'll also try and animate, this guy. Okay. So I'll just do like a basic vellum setup for this little creature. And then we can just see, how all of that is set up. So that's what we'll do in the next lesson.